So, Not Our Daughters kind of rose up in response to this idea of witch testing, where you are supposed to bring your conscription age daughter to one of these places and they tell you if she's a witch or not. If she's a witch, she literally goes right to Fort Salem, becomes a soldier for the rest of her life, and in perpetuity, her children are also subject to conscription. The Matrilineal Verification Center is a place where you go to find out if you're a witch. And the way they test you is by using scry stones to look at the tissue around your vocal cords to determine if you have the extra set that witches have. In the episode, there are young women who are super thrilled to find out, and then there are women who find out and are really scared. So it's kind of across the board in terms of the reaction. For these new witches, there's a lot of upheaval, and it kind of from that rose up this organization called Not Our Daughters, and they don't want to surrender their young women to Fort Salem for military training. They think that's inhumane. Meanwhile, witches have been doing it for centuries. You could call them a hate movement, and they are certainly sort of organized and funded by the Camarilla, but they're different. The Camarilla have survived for centuries by lurking in the shadows and pulling strings, and they're still doing that.
Someone once told me that I had to let the army make me strong. And she was right! The army saw something in me that I didn't even know was there.
As Scylla hears Raelle use her own words to calm the crowd, there's both a pain and a bit of hope. Because if she uses Scylla's words, then Scylla might still be present in her heart.
She gives this kind of passionate speech to the protesters at the MVC, and she's talking about how great the military is and how they're going to protect your daughters. And this is a big change for Raelle from season 1. And I think what's going on is that Raelle is kind of finding a home and finding community and accepting her strengths and feeling supported.
When Scylla sees Raelle, there's a whole range of emotions hitting all at once. She's very proud. She's showing leadership, natural leadership, and approaches this crowd with warmth and kindness and respect, even though it's an escalating riot. There's also a lot of guilt. Scylla has left Raelle in the dark, thinking that she's shipped off to this prison to die. And here they are, just a few feet apart.
The events surrounding the protest at the MVC kind of pull our unit back together, especially after what happens to Abigail. Once again, she is targeted by the Camarilla. It's a lot for Abigail to deal with, and it propels Abigail to stop waiting for other people to fix the problem. She's starting to get really, really sick of waiting for the army to fix this problem.
It's been wonderful to work with Demetria McKinney. To work with Demetria was definitely something I was hoping for, just because we left off on such intense scenes last season. In episode 3, we see how Scylla is trying to do it her own way, which ends up with Anacostia having to save her. And after that, Scylla has a bigger respect. So when we find them in episode 4, they've had to become closer, and Scylla, her life was saved by Anacostia. They have different ideologies, they have different backgrounds and different strategies, and it's intense, but there is definitely a sort of camaraderie and a love growing between them. Because more than they're different, they're pretty similar.